What's going on, everybody? It's Wave MMA here. Today, I just want to talk about what's been circulating in the news lately. Steve Erceg versus Alexandre Pantoja. And I mean, wow, what a matchup. Um, so, for those of you who don't know, although I'm sure most of you do by now, just based on headlines, Steve Erceg is, I believe, ranked number 10 at the moment. Let me quickly um, look that up just to be safe, but I believe he's ranked 10, which would mean this is one of the biggest disparities between a champion and their challenger ever. So let's see. Probably should have done this ahead of time. Yes, Steve Erceg is in fact ranked number 10. He's only had 3 fights in the UFC. He's never fought top 5. He's never fought top 10. And yet here we are. He will be fighting Pantoja for the belt on I believe the upcoming Brazil card. I would also have to double check that. But with that being said, I've got a few questions. For one, I'm not a fan of him, and I think he lost his last fight. And maybe I'm missing something here. Maybe he's out on injury or something. But why is it not Albazi? Right? If I'm not mistaken, Pantoja said that Albazi would have to fight Moreno or get one more win, and yet Pantoja's fighting Steve Erceg. And I mean, even looking at other fights in this division, why not a Muhammad Makayev, right? I mean, Muhammad Makayev, don't get me wrong, also doesn't deserve a title shot right now, but he deserves one more than Steve Erceg, right? So you've got Pantoja kind of avoiding two wrestle heavy guys. Um, and I mean, looking, past that, there's nobody else really right now for him to fight. And I understand, like, he's beat Royval, right? He's beat Moreno. He's beat Cara France, although that was in the contender, or not contender series. That was in Tough, the Ultimate Fighter. I'm not sure if he's fought Nicolau. I could really do got to brush up on my Pantoja history. I'm just not a big flyweight guy, I guess. But with that being said, this is a crazy decision. And it'll be really interesting to see how it goes. Um, for the sake of like, is this going to be something that's replicated in the future? If Steve Erceg does, for example, chin Pantoja, which I don't think anybody's expecting, but if he does, is Dana White going to see that and go, okay, right? Let's do this in the future. And so here's the other thing. And he, this could also be kind of a game changer in a lot of ways. Steve Erceg is not a big name. Like I've been going through these comment sections and people have no fucking idea who he is. People have like I don't know. When's the last time we have seen a title fight where one of the challengers or where the challenger has never been heard of by like a quarter of the fan base or a fifth of the fan base or some people saying they've only heard of him as of the last couple weeks, whatever. That's wild. So this isn't even like a money making decision. Man, this is a bad sign for flyweight. Or it's a great sign. I mean, if Steve Erceg wins, this could really fix the division. Have some fresh blood at the top. Um, but I don't think it's gonna happen, and this is very questionable. I think this is an extremely questionable decision on Dana White's part. Um, and it's gonna look interesting, right? I mean, this is a risk for Pantoja because if he loses to Erceg, that could end up aging really poorly because Erceg's completely unproven. He's untested, right? So I guess we'll see what happens. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. If I were to put my early prediction in now, obviously I'm going to go Pantoja. I have a very strong feeling he'll be able to hold Erceg down and maybe even submit him, right? But who knows? And again, I do find it strange. I'm a Pantoja fan. I picked Pantoja against Moreno. I picked Pantoja against Royval. I enjoy him. I like watching his fights. Pause. I like watching his fights, right? So it's not that I dislike him when I say this, but I feel this is almost an avoidance of those wrestling heavy styles. Because you look at his record, man. Who has he lost to? Who is his one loss? It was Askarov. And how did Askarov beat him? He wrestled him, right? He wrestled the fuck out of him. And yeah, sure, Pantoja can sit on the bottom and throw up submission attempts, but if he doesn't sink one in, that's top control. You know, he's not winning that round because there's top control involved. So it's hard to say, man. It's hard to say. Anyways, moving on. I just want to go through a couple of other things really quickly. Um, so the Charles Oliveira Armand fight, I haven't really talked about it much. Um, I'm gonna throw up an early prediction. I actually think Armand is gonna win this fight, and I think that he's gonna win by ground and pound finish. Uh, I know that's a risky prediction, and Charles is my boy, man. Like I love Charles, but I just have such a strong feeling Armand's gonna take this fight. Dude, Armand's fucking scary, and he has some fantastic wrestling. He is fucking scary, man. But I mean, Charles is too. So we'll see. But I think his wrestling is gonna be the difference here. I don't think Charles is gonna do well against this style. Just like he didn't do well against Islam, I don't think he does well against this style. And it's honestly like going back to the Pantoja thing. I think that that's it. Like if you're a really really good grappler, if you have great wrestling, you're a threat to these fucking BJJ guys almost 100% of the time. Like historically, you're a threat to these BJJ guys. If you have elite wrestling, elite ground and pound, and you can keep yourself out of submissions, you are a problem for them. But it will be interesting to see if Armin even goes that route because Armin will probably still be worried about the sub temps, right? And Charles is not bad at wrestling. I just don't think he's gonna have the strength and power. I really think that Arman's probably closer to Islam in terms of strength and power. With that being said, this is going to be a number one contenders fight, according to the UFC. So I'm pretty happy to hear that. I would like Justin to get a title shot first, either way. Um, but yeah, and so that kind of goes into the last topic I want to cover today. And I'm fucking annoyed at Islam, man. All right, so first of all, all these talks about Dustin versus Islam, right? They're so silly, man. The only thing that the only reason that Islam keeps throwing out is that he doesn't want he doesn't want to fight during Ramadan. So what? So he can't fight, Charles Arman or Dustin, who Dustin is, I think in most people's minds, the rightful number one contender, right? With that knockout over Poirier. He's not gonna fight fucking Justin, right? He said he was gonna fight Justin, and then he said, "Oh, I can't fight this soon," and then Justin said, "I want to stay busy," so he took that Max fight. But now he's turning around in June. He's turning around in June. I have a really hard time believing that Justin would have taken that Max fight if he knew he could have fought Islam in June. Man, because I mean, you could still get 2 fights in the year if you're Justin and you win that title, right? If he wants to stay active, man. And now you're having Islam saying, "Oh, I want to fight in June." Whoever can turn around and fight me at that time. This really feels like almost like that it is on or Adesanya thing, right? Trying to get somebody to turn around quickly and fight you. Like I can understand like not fighting for Ramadan and stuff. And maybe this isn't his intention at all. Maybe this was never his intention. But I don't know, man. Seems a little fucking sketchy. And especially coming from a camp that is very, very well known for having their fighters pad their records. And on the other end of it, Dustin still thinking he's gonna get a title shot. It would be fucking absolutely crazy. It would honestly, to me, it would. I know this is kind of a super hot take and not really logic, but I think it would be worse for Dustin to get a title shot right now than it is for Steve Erceg to get one, right? Because he just lost to Justin, and then he turns around and beats rank 12 or 13. In fact, you could even argue Steve Erceg hasn't lost in the UFC, right? So yeah, and they're both beating, guys at similar ranks. In fact, Steve Erceg's last win might have come off of a higher ranked guy. I'm not sure. So it's hard to say. But with that being said, uh, I really hope that Islam fights Justin Gaethje next. And to be clear, I have Islam winning that regardless, but I could definitely see Justin chinning Islam, man. I think that out of Charles, Islam, and Habib, Islam's the most susceptible to that. Seeing him get, it's been a long time, but he hasn't really been hit flush, since that first fight where he got knocked out, right? And Habib said himself that nobody hits harder than Justin that he's fought. So, and he also had his closest fight with Justin, right? So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens with this one. What are your guys' thoughts? Comment down below. Um, comment down below on the Steve Erceg fight. Do you think that fight was the right one to make? How do you feel about it? On one hand, it's nice that it's not just superstar treatment that's getting this kind of fluky title shot. On the other hand, it's still super fucking weird. Um, anyways, have a good morning, day, afternoon, night, whatever time it is, and I will catch you in the next video.